Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Budget, Finance, Economic Development Committee. It is now January 15th, and it's 9:07 a.m. I am Yukile Sugimura. I'm the chair of this committee, and I'd like to welcome everybody to this online meeting, and it's being conducted in accordance with the Sunshine Law. And as a reminder, when your name is called, if you're not in the council chambers, please identify by name who, if anyone, is in the room, vehicle, or workspace with you today. And minors do not need to be identified. I'd like to first welcome Member Batangan. Good morning.
Aloha kakahia kakako.
Member Cook, good morning.
Aloha, Chair. Good morning. There's staff in Kihei if anybody wants to get online. Thank you.
Good morning, Member Johnson and Lanai. Oh, no.
Good morning, Chair, council members, community members. I'm alone in my workspace, and there's no testifiers at the Lanai District Office, and it's cold and rainy outside. Thank you.
So are you on Lanai? Remember, oh, no, okay.
No, because of the MPO meeting, I couldn't make it in on time, so I figured I'd just do it from home.
Oh, okay. Chair Lee, I saw you earlier.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am home alone in my workspace with one minor feline, and her name is Jilly Lee. And it's cloudy outside, and looking forward to your meeting. Thank you.
Okay. Welcome to your family. Member Paulton.
Aloha kakaya kakako.
Aloha. Remember Rollins Fernandez.
Aloha kakahiaka and lono i ka makahiki from Molokai. Such a rainy night, cold weather. I am at my private residence alone, and there are currently no testifiers at the Molokai District Office. Mahalo, Chair.
Member Sinensi said he may be a little bit late, but he is in the building. Member U Hodgins.
Aloha, Chair. Aloha, everyone.
Aloha. From the Office of the Mayor, we have Leslie Milner, Budget Director, Department of Finance, Maria Zielinski, Deputy Director, as well as Marcy Sato, Accounting System Administrator, Department of Housing, Samalu Mata'ava, Deputy Director, Corporation Counsel, Yukari Murakami. Thank you very much for being here. Good morning. And from other resources, do we have Autumn Ness here? I didn't see her. Oh, she is online? Okay, thank you. Autumn Ness will be presenting the first item, Lahaina Community Land Trust Executive Director, and members with no objections like to designate Ms. Ness of the Lahaina Community Land Trust as a resource under Rule 18A of the Rules of the Council. No objection. Yeah, thank you. Committee staff, thank you very much. Leigh Deneen, Council Services Assistant Clerk, Peter Hanano, Legislative Attorney, Kirsten Zabo, Legislative Analyst, Ellen McKinley, Legislative Analyst, Pauline Martin, Senior Committee Secretary. Please see the last page of the agenda for information on meeting connectivity. Thank you, members, for attending today's BFED committee meeting. We have 3 items on the agenda this morning. Agenda items are BFED 20, item number 24, discussion on Bill 4, 2026, amending fiscal year 26 budget grant to Lahaina Community Land Trust. BFED 2023, discussion on Bill 3, 2026, amending the fiscal year 26 budget, Department of Housing, interim financing and buyback revolving fund, Komohana Hale Apartments rebuild. BFED 20, item 22, fiscal year 25 and fiscal year 26 carryover savings. So do we have anyone here for testimony? Yep. Could you?
No one signed up to testify at the beginning of the meeting yet, Chair.
Okay, I see somebody coming to the podium. So please state your name and let us know what item you'll be testifying on.
Jesse Law from Kulauka wa Ko'ahupua'a. I'm testifying on both of these. I don't really know too much about Bill 3. That's why we're here today, to discuss it, and I'm here to listen and find out. For the Kanaka Maoli, For those of you who don't know what Kanaka Maoli means, it's full-blooded Hawaiian person. Book of Proverbs, the Judeo-Christian Bible says, chapter 24, be not thou envious against evil men, neither desire to be with them, for their heart studieth destruction, and their lips talk of mischief. Through wisdom is a house builded, and by understanding it is established. And by knowledge shall the chambers be filled with all precious and pleasant riches. That's the part that's relevant right there, the pleasant riches part. A wise man is strong, and a man of knowledge increaseth strength. For by wise counsel thou shalt make thy war, and in multitude of counselors there is safety. And I save the rest of my time for the Kingdom of Hawaii people.
Any questions for the testifier? Seeing none. Next testifier, please.
Chair, no one else has signed up to testify at the beginning of the meeting. Would you like us to do a last call?
Please.
If anyone in the audience or on Teams would like to testify, please come up to the mic and begin your testimony, or raise your hand on Teams. Provide a brief countdown. 3, 2, 1. Seeing none, Chair.
Thank you very much, Ellen. Members, the first item on today's agenda is Rule 7B, discussion on Bill 4. Bill 4 proposes to amend fiscal year 26 budget to recognize $5 million in estimated revenue from general fund carryover and savings. Bill 4 also proposes to increase the Department of Housing grant to Lahaina Community Land Trust from $6 million to $11 million. Bill 4 also proposes to delete a $5 million grant condition for Lahaina Community Land Trust tied to the Open Space, Natural Resources, Cultural Resources, and Scenic Views Preservation Fund. Bill 4 passed first reading at the council meeting on January 4th and remains with the council for consideration of passage on second and final reading on January 23. Today, the committee's focus is for the additional $5 million, the conditions and reporting that will apply, and the reasons for deleting the Open Space Fund condition. Joining us today to assist with this discussion is Leslie Milner, Budget Director. Maria Zelinsky, would you like to come down here? You want to come down here? Oh, you don't want to come down here for that? Okay. Samalu Mata'ava, Deputy Director of Housing. Autumn Ness, Executive Director, Community Land Trust. I will ask for opening comments from the Department of Housing and Budget Director, then Finance, if you want to speak. And then we will hear from Ms. Ness. Mr. Mata'ava, do you have any opening comments?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, council members, for having the Department of Housing today. I have no opening comments, but more than happy to answer any of your questions.
Okay. Ms. Milner?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, as we discussed the other day at that council meeting, in moving forward with trying to execute an agreement with the Lahaina Community Land Trust for the open space funds, it was determined that the use of the fund and some of the requirements were too restrictive to allow them to expeditiously do their work. So after we got the numbers from the Department of Finance on the carryover and determined it would be feasible to move it into the general fund and allow them the flexibility they needed, we chose to propose this amendment. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Ness? There you are. Good morning.
Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry. I really would have preferred to be there in person today, but I am on day 2 or maybe 3 of not feeling so hot.
Aww.
And I do not want to give you folks whatever is going around. So thank goodness for Zoom. Thank you. So I'm going to share a couple of slides with you folks about, like, there's a lot of money in, money out and construction happening. And I just want to kind of give you guys a summary of the lay of the land and where Bill 4 fits in that, if that's okay.
Yes,
but I need to start with just letting you know that I'm about to share some pretty incredible progress with you folks. And it's really a testament to the community, to you, the council, to the mayor, to our partners. We have so many partners, it's like hard to list them all. And it just, it shows how committed everybody is to this vision of a generationally stable Lahaina out of ashes. And you've heard me say this, but I will say it, continue to say it until it is true, that Lahaina will be the first community that has gone through a disaster of this size and come out stronger, especially in our housing situation. And I'm just so proud of that. I can't say that enough. The quick short list, I'm totally gonna forget somebody, but Hawaii Community Lending, the Long-Term Recovery Group, the Mennonite Disaster Services, Habitat for Humanity, Pono Legal, Native Hawaiian Legal Corp, so many funders. We have individual donors, our Kalua'ehu business partners, local contractors. Kajula Construction is like a rock star. I can't believe it myself. 1 year ago this week, we blessed our first parcel of Aina. Some of you folks were there, and it was a magical day. And 2 days ago, I had to go take updated construction photos for this presentation. And so that was exactly 1 year after the blessing. My iPhone reminded me 1 year ago, you know? And I can't believe it. I was personally totally overwhelmed 2 days ago when I was taking these pictures, and then I got the reminder while I'm out in the field, and wow, I can't believe what a year has been. If you could please tee up the slides that I sent over.
Do you have it? Yeah. Okay, we have it.
Okay.
And members got a hard copy, those that were.
Okay, perfect. I don't know which window I'm supposed to look at to see those slides. Could you let me know when they're up, and then I'll just follow along on my side if I can't
Member Rollins
see.
Fernandez, those online, did you get a copy of the presentation?
Yeah, I'm Granicus. Mahalo.
Thank you. Okay.
Oh, great, I can see them too. And I'll just let you know when we can advance. So I first want to highlight, this is, for the community and anybody listening, this is a really incredible example of what we've talked about, community-led, government-supported. In our case, it's working really well, thanks to you folks, and to some of our folks at the state too. Can you advance to the next slide? I'm not going to beleaguer this point because we talked about this in DRIP, but just a very quick reminder, every path we have when we touch Aina in some way has a couple of things in common. One, they're permanent. Once we touch or intervene on anything that has to do with a piece of Aina, it is protected permanently. And that is so that it makes our community stronger long-term and not just in the 2 or 5 year term. And we are continually evolving to center the real needs of our residents and fire survivors. Okay, next slide, please. Our path 1 is the Keep Lahaina Home program. This is not the thing we thought we were going to do when we started the Community Land Trust. This is where we partner with families who are short on rebuild funds because their insurance payout was not enough. In this case, the family retains title to their Aina, and then it's protected through a deed restriction. Next slide, please. This program was born out of an idea from Councilmember Paulton and you folks. When you heard the community say, wait, we're helping this developer rebuild the apartments because their insurance payout wasn't enough, what about us? And funded this pilot, and we have taken it with our partners and run. You can see our most important partners in this program are Hawaii Community Lending, LTRG. We're working with the Mennonites Disaster Services on some builds. Pono Legal helps us review the legal documents with all of the Ohanas. And if you go to the next slide, you will see pictures taken as of Tuesday, the current construction progress on some of these homes. The upper right is a foundation just going in. The middle bottom is, we were like kind of trying to guess on who was going to come home first. And we think maybe the Blue House Ohana might be in the lead. But get ready for housewarming parties very soon. This is our preferred path because it means that we're bringing people home to their Aina. But the second and really necessary path is number 2, where we acquire land that is going to be sold. I will say a big part of path number 1 is preventing sale. I don't think we talk about this enough, how many sales, impending sales that we have prevented with a bunch of wraparound services, including path number 1. But path number 2, we purchase land either that has been listed and it's on the market, or families call us first and they say, hey, we want to sell. For various reasons, that can be true for people, and we want to make sure it stays in Lahaina hands, so we'd like to offer it to you folks before we even list it. And in that case, we do make market price offers, but we're able to save money on both ends because we don't have to pay, the seller doesn't have to pay buyer or seller real estate agents. We handle those transactions in-house. So in some cases, we're able to negotiate and make a offer that's like 6% lower than what we would have to make if it was listed on the market, because we don't have to pay agents on either side. So it's actually a really cool way to get a family everything they would get if they listed it on the market, but we get to save some money and put it into a different parcel or home. Okay, next path, please. And this is the one I think I've talked to you guys about before. We have prevented 3 foreclosures so far. We have 5 on deck that we are monitoring. For various reasons, each one of these stories is so tragic, and sometimes we can intervene and sometimes we can't, and we have to wait for it to go to auction, which we are prepared to do, because the auction is where investors snap up these parcels, and we're trying to prevent that at all costs. I did start going to foreclosure auctions just to learn about the process, and the only thing I can tell you is they're heartbreaking. Okay, next slide, please. Oh, what I forgot to mention about that, I'm so sorry. The 3 foreclosures that we intervened on, in all cases with the blessing and in working with the Ohana, LCLT has title to the property because that's what we had to do, but there is a clear path for those families to come home and use some of the money that we bought their land with, whatever's left over after they pay the bank, to put a down payment on a house to come back and live on their own Aina. So there is a path back for them to continue living on that parcel. It just looks a little different. Okay, so this is our, the map was good. Yeah, right there. So I actually had to update these numbers just yesterday because that's how fast things move. But as of yesterday, we have these 19 parcels zoned for up to 45 units. Of these, 3 are prevented foreclosures. Really, the updated numbers as of yesterday, it's 13. We have, let me just break this down. We have 13 that we have title to. They're closed transactions. 2 of those are planned giving, which means when the current resident lives, 2 additional ones, sorry, which means when the owner who currently lives at their house passes away, that property comes into the Lahaina Community Land Trust portfolio. That has been an incredible process to work with those people on that. So that's a total of 15 that is protected. In addition, we have 5 more properties currently in escrow. So that's 13 plus 2, 15 plus 5, that's 20. In addition to that, we have 8 families that have signed and their houses are under construction. Many of those were in that previous slide. We have 1 more on deck, that's 9. So let's do the math there. We have 28, almost 29 parcels that have been protected. in just the 2 years since we've been around, which is really, really incredible. Okay, next parcel, or next slide. This is a timeline, just to give you guys some idea of the dizzying pace of this work. You can see that August Maui fires were on there. Just a few days later, the idea for LCLT was born on my tailgate in Napili Noho, the relief hub, and we got to work. In spring of 2024 was the first budget session where this body awarded us our first funding package. We took that and really leveraged that. The fact that you folks invested in us in the very beginning was a game changer. It allowed us to take that, even before the fiscal year started and we could access that funding, we could take that to funders across the country and say, hey, look, the county believes in us, you should too. And money started coming in. In August of 2024, we signed the final contract to purchase our first piece of land, and then it snowballed. In spring of 2025, we rolled out the Keep Lahaina Home program. That's the insurance program that you folks funded. And as soon as fall of 2025, with the LTRG and the Mennonite Disaster Service, our funding, some of our paperwork, and all of our collective counseling, the first 4 homes started being rebuilt, 1 through Mennonite Disaster Services and 3 with private local contractors. By end of year 2025, we had secured or were in escrow for, or through planned giving, 17 parcels. Even between the end of year and now, that number has changed. In spring of 2026, we anticipate the final inspections and move-in day for our first 3 Keep Lahaina Home families. We will be selecting our first ohana to purchase our first constructed LCLT home. We are going to be breaking ground on 3 additional homes that are not in that picture. And we're going to be requesting permits for 3 units on 1 parcel, that parcel that we blessed together by the Living Building Coalition. So it's going to be an affordable home that also has a net zero impact on its environment. Summer 2026, we anticipate breaking ground on additional 8 units. We are contracted with Habitat for Humanity to be our contractor on some of those. LTRG and Mennonite Disaster Service are continuing to work on additional parcels, and we anticipate final inspection and move-in day for 3 more Keep Lahaina Home families. You guys got all that? If you want to interrupt me for questions, please do, or I can take some at the end. Okay, next slide. I went over this already, but like I said, our first priority is to focus on folks who are coming home to their parcel. That means we can get them out of temporary housing, who knows where all over the island, or those small houses that are really great right now, but really hard to live in long term. So that's what you're seeing is going up first, is those homes. Okay, next slide, please. All right, how we're funded. This is the fun part. So this is a little difficult because the county's fiscal year and our fiscal year are different. Ours is January to December and your folks is, July to June. So I did my best to capture that here. So we're going to start in the beginning, fiscal year 24-25. This was the funding package. If you remember, it was $5 million for housing. That included $3.5 million of the insurance gap funding. 2.8 of that has been committed. We haven't spent it yet. We commit it first, and we have to hold it in an account so that it can be there when we need to pay the final draws for the contractors, right? So we commit it, and then it gets spent as the construction timeline dictates. And then some of that is going to be for managing the folks who go do the inspections and all of that. Most of it is for direct construction costs. The 1.5 million in that housing fund was for acquisitions that has been spent. In that package, the second 5 million was managed retreat funds. If you remember, I committed to you folks and a lot of other people that we weren't just going to spend that just because we had it. How we spend the managed retreat money starts to set precedent for the funds. And we really took that very seriously. And the parcels that we identified as owned by longtime Lahaina families and that were in danger of having to be sold because they either couldn't rebuild because of its proximity to the shoreline and or because of property taxes. I'm really happy to report that we may have prevented the sale of both of those parcels because we worked with an organization called Huleopa'a to do their genealogical research and give them all the tools that they need to be able to apply for the Aina Kupuna exemption. And so we may not have to touch a dollar of this money and we're just gonna let it lapse. So that's great. The third 5 million is the open space, which is the subject of Bill 4. I will say that there were 2 parcels that went up for sale that were listed in Lahaina since we've had this money, and they were listed and went before we even had a chance to intervene. The speed and nature of real estate in Lahaina is a little crazy, I'm gonna be honest. There was a few weeks where there were multiple new listings that went up. These are residential in this case. And by the time we met and decided that these were a good purchase and decided on a fair purchase, like offer amount, I was like writing the offer letter, and I got a call that they had gone into escrow, 2 of them in the same week. We're seeing that parcels, some of them are listed for less than 5 or 7 days. And so the speed that we have to move at in Lahaina right now, it just doesn't match the government's speed. It is what it is. And so we worked with the mayor's office to try to can we encumber these funds in a way without knowing which TMK we're gonna use them on? So when a listing goes up, we can just make the offer knowing that we have the funds behind us, and it just wasn't working, you know? So also the need, we're seeing that parcels that fit in the narrow open space fund box aren't going up for sale as quickly as residential properties. And so I can answer more questions about that, but I want to finish talking about money in, money out, because there's a little bit more Bill 4 stuff on the next slide. So total of money in 2024-25 from the County of Maui allocated was 15 million. We've spent or allocated the 5 of housing, and the rest is kind of in limbo. That calendar year 2024, which was our first year as an organization, we raised $3.6 million in private donors. Okay, next slide is going to do the next year. Here we are in fiscal year 2025-26. We currently have 6 million in the general fund, Department of Housing, that we are currently spending down. You can see we have spent down 3.2 million in either acquisitions or some insurance gap rebuild funds. We have 2.8 remaining. These are what we anticipate spending that 2.8 on: acquisitions and construction, like we are, for Lahaina Community Land Trust parcels. We do anticipate a slow and steady continuing stream of folks who are interested in the insurance gap rebuild, mostly because a lot of people were waiting to see if they would qualify for the Ho'okumaho rebuild support. Many folks don't. for a number of reasons that is nobody's fault, most of which you can't have started in any way, shape, or form on your construction before you went to go get the CDBG-DR money. And that's just not most people's reality, you know? So if you can't qualify for ho'okumaho, we end up with you. And that's great. We just love that that's a partnership we're able to have.
Chair,
The money,
point of
Yep, go ahead.
clarification.
One moment, Autumn. Member Paulton.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a point of clarification. When Ms. Ness said you can't have started in any way, shape, or form, that includes like even plans or any permitting and like that? Is that what you're saying?
yes,
Yes.
like, yeah, if you have a plan for your house, which is what people have to do in order to figure out how much it's gonna cost them to get their house built, then they get a bid, and then they gotta figure out if their money works. So responsible homeowners, many of them have done that, right? And then you get to the Ho'okumaho program, and you find out that all of that is null and void. You have to use that program's plans, which I understand why. This is not like a, criticism, but right through the gates, your progress and your plans don't match the county's reconstruction parameters. You know what I mean? So we have just made everybody in that program aware. We get referrals often from Ho'okumaho folks. Hey, we have a family here. Can you guys take them? So it's a little bit right now. It's a trickle, but we anticipate that continuing as they get through those applicants. Okay, does that answer your question? Okay. For calendar year 2025, for non-county money, we've raised a total of 9.4 million in private money. That's everything from monthly donors to individuals writing us checks to foundation support. We also launched our Kalua'ehu program, which brings our local businesses on board. Each one of them has a unique partnership with us that gives them a pathway to share some of their profit with us and our work. And it has been so incredible, you guys. I wish I was there in person. This dress I will show you is an Uhaloa print made by one of our partners at Paradise Now, and 100% of the proceeds from this dress went to our Lahaina Land Fund. One more example, sorry, humor me here. These puzzles, we have 2 puzzles that were made by local artists by the Surf Shack Puzzles, and proceeds from these come into our land fund. There's 28 examples. When you go to Merriman's and you order a Caesar salad, money comes into our land fund. We have 28 of those partners, and we just launched it last year, and in the first few months it already brought in 50,000. Think of this fund as our long-term sustained income stream that will help us pay for things over time. Okay, Bill 4's 5 million is going to be added to that 6 million right there. And which is great timing for reasons I will tell you in a second. Okay, next slide. Okay, fiscal year 2026, 27, we're not there yet. So this is just, proposed, but we heard at the mayor's budget hearing in Lahaina that he is anticipating to put LCLT in to his budget for another 6 million. For our calendar year, I cannot even guess how much money we're going to bring in, because every year we blow our own socks off. But we are currently working on a $5 million matching grant offer from an anonymous donor. And so that will at least net that 5 plus whatever we bring in to match it. So that's 10 million. We anticipate there's increased interest from the visitor industry leadership on our Kalua'ehu program. and efforts to bring more corporate partners into this program. And so what we do know about 2026, if we don't bring in a single more partner in and we just continue as we are, it's going to bring in about $220,000. So if we start adding more of the resorts or more corporate partners, that money is also going to snowball, we think. Let me just see my notes if I forgot anything. Nope, we're good. Okay, let's move to the next slide. This is our current Kalu'ehu program partners. So anytime anyone takes a boat tour or makes a booking or eats or drinks or shops at any of these businesses, money is going to come into our land fund. You'll see these are there. When I said more corporate partners, you'll notice the first people to step up into this program are our locally owned, mostly fire affected businesses themselves. And that was really surprising to us. So when I say that this is a testament to how much this community believes in this work, this is what I mean. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, collective impact. Like I said, these numbers are recorded numbers, first of all. So this does not include our planned giving units or the ones that are in escrow or 266 Dickinson, which I'm going to take a moment to plead for somebody to please help us seal the deal on 266 Dickinson, the transfer from the county to us. You folks approved that, gosh, 2 years ago now, and paperwork is somewhere. And 266 Dickinson is in limbo. So can somebody please help us finish that? Minus parcels in escrow, planned giving units, and in escrow. Sorry, I'm getting text messages. I have to turn this off. I have to put this away. It's distracting me. Minus all those units, ones that are recorded. This is the state of Lahaina's real estate transactions in Lahaina since the fire. We believe that there were 66 individual transactions. That's not including things that like families are cleaning up who's on title and like doing probate. All of that is showing up in title reports, but we're not counting that. 12 of those were purchased by companies.
Oh, okay, thanks.
3 of those 12 companies have Lahaina tax addresses. The rest do not. 8 of those 66 were purchased by Maui County. 33 of those 66 were purchased by individuals, and 21 of them have Lahaina tax addresses. 13 recorded were purchased by LCLT. So of recorded transactions, Lahaina Community Land Trust is responsible for 20% of the real estate transactions in Lahaina as of end of last year. And so I share this with you folks because if we were not around, these numbers would look very different. I will also say that because of that, we are starting to influence comps. And that is really good news. There was a time, a handful of months ago, there was a time where I was in a panic because listing prices were starting to creep quickly up. And we saw parcels being listed, residential parcels being listed online, or, on the MLS for like $800,000-$900,000 for a residential parcel cash. Only a cash buyer with excess money in their pockets can afford that. You can't finance that kind of a purchase. And so we were starting to lose the battle, and we had to get aggressive in a good way about how we were talking about list prices in Lahaina, who we were marketing parcels to. We had to bring in a cadre of local real estate professionals as allies and really try to steer this in a different direction. And we're seeing that that's working. So good job to everybody involved in that whole thing. Okay, next slide. Okay, future plans. For construction, you saw the ones that are going up. For LCLT parcels that we have title on, we have funding and plans to begin construction on 11 of the units that we are zoned for currently. Our current number of parcels are zoned for 45 units total, and we have potential plans for those, but no like paperwork locked in, you know? So stay tuned for that. In general, our cost per square foot is $400 or less, which is major. That's in large part because we are working with volunteer labor hours with Mennonite Disaster Services and Habitat. Even our local contractors who are constructing our Keep Lahaina home families are coming in at way under expected averages. And that's just, like I said, again, another testament about how much this community is working together to make this happen. Excuse me. I just want to point out that even our own CDBGDR action plan is estimating $500 a square foot for construction, which is actually really fair. So we're coming in under that consistently, which is great. Let's see. The other cool thing to note is this magic thing happened where word kind of got out that homes that are being constructed in partnership with us are protected forever. Like, we're not going to see them flipped on Zillow in 5 or 10 years for, you know, a couple of $1 million. And people really like that model. And so we have partnerships with other organizations, sourcing materials and doing labor, volunteer work and building homes where they get the house built and then we manage the deed restriction or the protections on it perpetually. So sometimes we don't have to pay any money out of our fund in order for a unit to be protected, if that makes sense. Okay, next slide, please.
So Autumn, 1 second, if
Sure.
you will. I want to welcome Member Sinensi to the meeting. I think he's been sitting here for 10 minutes.
Hello and good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning. Okay, so what we see on the horizon, I alluded to it a little bit before, but I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be clearer about this. We have a lot of Ohana who are waiting on their settlement payment to see if that payment is going to be the thing that gives them enough money to rebuild. And so those folks have not applied yet for our Keep Lahaina Home program, or have applied and they're in like a waiting room. And we're waiting to see if they're going to need our help to rebuild. We also have folks who, for whatever reason, want to sell their parcel, but are in the settlement as a plaintiff and have been advised that if they sell their parcel before the settlement is signed, it's going to affect their payout. And so we have an internal list of folks who have told us that that's the case. They want to sell, but they have to wait to the settlement. So we are teeing up for all of those folks to want to sell at the same time. And we know that if we have a list internally, there's probably a whole handful of people in the community that we don't know about that are waiting for that same thing. And if we know this, so do disaster capitalists with strike capital in their pocket. They know if this is not their first disaster, and it has been studied numerous times that this is when a lot of land goes up for sale, as if there's a settlement. And so we need to be able to compete with those people that are waiting for the literal fire sale in our community, which is why having a cash reserve is really important. We also know that the settlement, we don't know, we anticipate that the settlement is going to be, the first check is going to be a massive disappointment to folks because they're going to pay the checks out over the course of 4 years. So you will only get a quarter of what the court believes you need to be made whole. So for a family who is waiting to rebuild and they need, let's say, $300,000, when they get a $70,000 check in the mail, they're going to be left with very few options. And we hope that we'll be able to be one of those options for them when the time comes so that they don't have to sell. Okay, next slide, please. So yeah, I think I went over this already, that this work is only really possible because we had a shared vision, and we're making good on that vision every day in so many different ways. Creative problem solving, resource sharing, volunteer labor, funding from all over the place. And we are also starting to become a national best practice. We are starting to share our paperwork. Altadena, I don't know if I've mentioned to you folks, Altadena, that was part of the LA fires, has also started a community land trust, and we've made all of our documents open source for them. And we hope that this is the new way of doing disaster relief, that we can stabilize our communities in their time of need in this way and keep the disaster investors out. Let's see, I think there might be 1 or 2 more slides. Oh, this is my favorite statistic. I'm so glad I didn't skip this one. Our first 8 families in our Keep Lahaina Home program, so all those homes that you saw in that collage, we keep in our files length of time lived in West Maui for each family member, and the collective number of years for those 8 families in just this current generation is over 1,500 years. That's 1,500 years of ike, Lahaina ike, that these families carry, that if they had to leave, the lineage of that ike would have been broken. And we're keeping them here, and we're keeping that history alive because of you guys, because of that program that you guys invented, basically. So thank you so much. I think the last slide just has, a thank you and my contact information.
Thank you very much. So then at this time, I'm going to open up for any testimony.
Chair, no one has signed up to testify on this item. So proceeding with last call. If anyone would like to testify, please come up to the podium or raise your hand on Teams. Countdown is 3, 2, 1. Seeing none, Chair.
Thank you very much. So we have.
Pardon me, Chair. Someone raised their hand. And we'll need to promote them. Caroline.
So we have 2 testifiers. Okay, go ahead.
Chair, the first
aloha.
Hi, Caroline.
testifier is Caroline Awaloa.
Hey, I just wanted to thank the committee so much for giving us the time to share all these exciting and overwhelming updates. I know it's a lot of numbers, and it's really that it makes our heads spin too. But I'm just so grateful for the relationship and the support that we have received from this council and this administration. Like Autumn said, we really value this relationship, and you guys have been a big part of our ability to move and respond as quickly as we have. And it's incredible because this was just an idea 2 years ago. It was just a thought. It was a big what if. And that what if has grown to be a major wave of hope, a major wave of stability building, and that foundation just gets bigger and bigger every day. I can't emphasize that enough. And we talk about the magic of it all. And I really think the magic is in the aloha that our community has for our place and our people, and the hope that we have that our future is going to be a brighter and more secure, safe future for the people that make Lahaina special, the people that make Lahaina everything that it is, that appeals to people that keep coming back and that have shared from around the world how much they love Lahaina and what a special place it is. It's large part due to the people that make their experiences special, that welcome them, that are the engine for the economy that Lahaina provides to the state. Without the people, it would be nothing. It's not going to be special if everyone that lives and serves in Lahaina are all foreign. It's not going to be special if we lose our unique identity. And while the state is interested in rediscovering Hawaii's soul, Lahaina still has its soul. We still know who we are. We just need to stay.
Oh,
we need to be able to create opportunities to keep our children here. And this work is doing that. But it's only doing that because of the hands and support from so many. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you very much for all you do for the community and for this county, really. Anybody have questions for the testifier? See none. Thank you very much. Next testifier, please, and please identify yourself. You have 3 minutes and 30 seconds in closing if you don't complete. Please state your name.
Aloha, I'm James Langford. I wish I got to testify before the last testifier. For gracefulness, and
can you speak louder? Or closer, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Is that better?
Yes.
Thank you. So I really 1,000% am so proud of the work that all of you are doing together right now. Autumn, your work is exceptional. And the work, I fully support the $5 million and whatever matching funds that these folks need. And I would also love to offer any software support that you folks need. I wrote the timeshare software that runs in all the timeshare apps on Hawaii. Since 1999. So
you're breaking up. Can you speak closer to the mic? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I know a bit about the those types of big numbers. Also, what a great teaching moment, because just listening to the gracefulness of the testifiers today. And just as a Honduran fan, I approach absolutely differently. With vinegar, I would say, whereas the folks that have the gracefulness and the aloha to approach with honey are making so much progress in getting all the work done. So as a teachable moment to share as testimony, as personal character development, I really appreciate how Autumn and folks are well together in that way. And I support it with as many zeros as I'm allowed to bring in. So thank you, folks, for a glorious full circle way of showing it works all different ways, but it's more fun to do it with honey. And I can't wait to see what more great things that you folks do with Autumn and the crew. And God bless you all. And get your wings around all of that.
Okay. Thank you. Are you done testifying?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. Any questions?
Good luck on your next thing.
Any questions for the testifier? See none. Thank you very much, Mr. Langford. Next testifier.
Chair, no one else has indicated they'd like to testify. So
Last call.
proceeding with last call, if anyone would like to testify, please come up to the podium or raise your hand on Teams. The countdown is 3, 2, 1. Seeing none, Chair.
Thank you. All right, members, so now we'll have deliberations, and you will be given 3 minutes to answer questions of the resources available. I want to thank Autumn Ness. Now we know why we needed you to do this 7B, because your presentation at council did not encompass all of this. So thank you very much. And I hope you're feeling better. So members, at this time, I will start on this side, Member Senensi, and then go. Oh, sorry. With your permission, I'm going to close public testimony and receive written.
No objection.
Okay, thanks. So 3 minute. Are you going to go to no hand? Okay. Member Uhajan,
I think he's
3
going to
minutes.
wait for some questions since he walked in about midway through the
Oh, I see.
presentation.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Ness. Thank you very much for not only your hard work and Ms. Aveloa's hard work as well, but this report's really nice and well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if we're going to talk about Bill 4, if I can ask you a quick question about how that's going to work.
Sure.
If we're going to go and put the money probably back into open space, I guess we can just write it in since you guys haven't spent it, and go into your guys' housing monies. And I understand your point because it is moving fast. So my concern is, or my question is, how do we as the county kind of understand and know what we're purchasing? I know you guys don't know and it has to be made quickly, but on our end, do you guys CC us on your guys' purchases? Do you guys give us some sort of graph on what you guys are doing, or how are we able to reconcile the money on our end?
Good question. Well, I'll tell you what we can do, what we're doing now
Yes,
in our
that'd be
housing
great.
fund, and then how we make our decisions internally. And I'm happy to, we have a grant agreement with the Department of Housing.
Okay.
That kind of gives some of our decision-making parameters that we decide, are we going to purchase this or not under those parameters. So
Okay.
the application that's with the Housing Department is a lot more detailed, obviously, than the line item in your folks' budget. And I'm happy to share that application with you folks so you can see the rules that we're working under in agreement with the Department of Housing.
Okay.
Let's start internally, because I'm going to go in chronological order. So we have that money encumbered through that application. Once the grant agreement is signed, we can't spend any money out of the fund until the grant agreement is signed, right? So internally, we've mapped out areas in the residential areas in Lahaina about where are good purchases, we can move fast. Anything in this neighborhood is a good purchase. We have other neighborhoods that are yellowed, proceed with caution, because either some of the roads were substandard. This is where a lot of the escape issues, and we lost most of our community members in these neighborhoods. Does it have non-conforming zoning? We have yellow parcels. And then we have some just red, like EV title issues, sea level rise, flood zone, even if it was built on and technically doesn't need to go through the SMA, do we really want to get into that? So we have green, yellow, red kind of in the neighborhoods. And that's how I decide when a parcel comes, the level of consultation to have with the board and the rest of our team. And then once a parcel goes into escrow and closes, then we send all that paperwork, all of the closing costs related to that, to the housing department to get reimbursed. That's how we've been doing it to now. The reason that didn't work with open space is
No,
because...
I get why it didn't work in open space, but my question is more, if we're going to give you a bunch of money, which we have been totally happy to do, how do we rectify it on our end to know what you guys are purchasing?
Yeah, I mean, right now it's
So
been
the buzzer went
residential.
off. Real quick. What you did say is that you would give us a copy of your grant. Is that what you said?
For starters, absolutely.
Maybe,
And I'm happy.
if I would like an answer to my question. I appreciate Ms. Ness' answer, but But for our end, we have to understand how this is gonna impact us fiscally. Can maybe Deputy Director can answer. Thank you, Ms. Ness. I appreciate your thought process.
Proceed. Mr. Montalva.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councilmember Uhajin, for the question. As Autumn explained, up to the point where she submits a reimbursement claim, that process is correct. What we do internally in the department once we receive that reimbursement claim is we reconcile that reimbursement claim based off of the scope of the grant. So if it doesn't match the scope of the grant, we reject the reimbursement claim, and we ask Autumn if she has any additional information to provide it. But I can tell you to this point, we haven't rejected any of the reimbursement requests to this point. It all aligns with the scopes of the grant.
Thank you. I do have one more question, but I'll save it because I heard the buzzer.
Okay, great. Next, Member Cook, followed by Member Rollins-Fernandez.
Thank you, Chair. I guess this is for Ms. Milner. How does this affect the open space fund?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councilmember Cook. This will make an additional $5 million available for appropriation in the Open Space Fund.
So sort of a follow-up question for that. I understand that it's going to basically be utilizing some of the money from the Open Space Fund and transferring it, no?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councilmember Cook. No, we are not moving any money out of the Open Space Fund. This is carryover savings from the general fund that we are recognizing. The balance of the Open Space Fund remains intact.
So how does this affect the Open Space Fund at all?
Thank you, Chair. It just removes the appropriation for this project and makes those $5 million available to be appropriated for other acquisitions.
Okay, I get it now. Thanks.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, done. Thank you. Next, we have Member Rollins-Fernandez.
Mahalo, Chair. Aloha, Ms. Ness. Mahalo to you and Ms. Awilao and the board and the team at Lahaina Community Land Trust for all the work that you folks have done. It's really incredible. So I guess there's a couple questions I wanted to ask. One, I know we had to, respond immediately to try to prevent the vultures from snatching up all the parcels after such a devastating loss for folks. So, we went into, response, and then what does it look like over time for the land trust? And are there lessons that you folks have learned that you think would be important for us to start, incorporate into our policies and what you've learned?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, I want to recognize this feels like a lot. That it's a lot of zeros. It's a lot fast. What does this look like over time is actually my favorite question because it doesn't look like this forever. We are front loading right now. The nature of this problem is that it's now, it's fast, and that's why investors win in other communities because agencies and governments just can't move as fast as investors with money in their pocket can, right? And so this is a lot fast, but if you look down the road, this is the thing that gives my nervous system medicine, that I look down the road in 5 or 8 years, there will be a time in the near future where we have secured enough INA to meet our goal. The homes are built, the families are home, and we can downshift into a stewardship organization. We don't have to keep putting multi-million dollars into our land and construction fund because we've done our job. And perhaps we can take this model to South Maui, for example, and just, maybe we can just go around the island and solve our housing problems community by community. Systems-wise, because of the nature of and the speed of this problem, in a different period, I would have tried to figure this out myself, but we didn't have time for that. And so we, I think we went to the continent and hired 2 really, really seasoned consultants, one in the program side and one on the finance side. And so they really helped us to bring existing software, best practices from across the continent. We didn't have to figure this out on our own. And so any of those software packages we're just, when you see our portal open to ask for homeowner applicants, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna finish this one sentence if that's okay. You'll see in the news, like any month now, maybe a month or two, where people can sign up to become an LCLT homeowner. We're using a software called Public House that plugs into Homekeeper, that plugs into Salesforce. It's these layers of software that allow us to work fast. And I would never have known about this if we didn't have to go hire experts from the outside, for example.
Incredible. Mahalo.
Yeah.
Mahalo, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Next, we have Member Johnson, followed by Member Paulton, then Chair Lee.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Ms. Ness, for being here. You know, we just recently had a debate on your level of rock starness. And I think for me, LCLT could fill a stadium full of fans, just saying. But anyways, thank you for all the work that you do. I do have some quick questions for you. Real quick, right off the bat, there's so many people that you're working with. Now, if I was a donor or if I was someone who wanted to talk about my property, is all the contacts go right to you, Autumn? Is that the best way to reach out, is just your contact info?
Yeah, it kind of filters through me. We give people the info at lahainacommunitylandtrust.org, but even that comes into my email box, if I'm being honest. So I'm kind of the triage, but
Okay.
We have, when they come through us, and then we have GAP at. I want to clarify that. GAP at lahainacommunitylandtrust.org. Sorry, it's so long. That goes directly to our GAP teams. And that is that shoots them into this funnel of a bunch of different partners that meet every week.
All right, great. I just, you know, it really emphasizes the fact that you aren't just relying on the county. You're working with all these great folks, all these great businesses. You know, it's just wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to jump into the issue of 266 Dickinson. Where is that? Who's being held up? Is it Corporation Council? They've been, but I'll just ask, do you know who is holding this up?
I believe so, but I don't want to make any assumptions.
Okay. That's something we can follow up with some phone calls, but
Thank you.
yeah, I heard you. I heard your plea. Now, the next question, I'm on limited time. So the CBGDR funds, that is something that, of course, you brought that up, and Councilmember Paulton did a clarifying point that you can't even plan your parcel, and then it blocks you out if you do the CBGDR money. So I'm just curious of who's perimeters, who's deciding these perimeters? Is it the feds or is it the county? I'm really curious on whose decisions on the perimeters of the CBGDR money.
I don't want to misspeak, so I want to clarify. If you have plans and permits and everything, it doesn't disqualify you, but you can't use any of that. You have to start over. So that's a kind of important clarification. Where that gets really undoable is if, like, you've poured your foundation already,
right?
You know, or if you've started any groundwork. That's really the thing that disqualifies you. The rest of it, you just have to figure out. Who's disqualifying? It's part of the rules of the Ho'okumaho program. I don't want to speak to who or why, because I don't want to misspeak, but I just know that that's the case.
Okay, well, again, I think we'll make some phone calls because that just doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't believe it can be changed. Sorry to cut you off. I don't believe it can be changed at this point, but, and I want to, like, assume that there are reasons that those rules were in place, namely because they're all using one contractor and they have a set of plans, which sounds great because, like, we've talked about this before in this body, having a set of pre-approved plans greases the chute, but in this case, there's a little, there's a little miss, so.
That's what my concern is. All right, I heard the time. Thank you, Ms. Ness. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Johnson. Next, we have Member Paulton, followed by Chair Lee, and then Member Batangan.
If staff can send a letter to Corp Council about the holdup with 266 Dickinson. I met with our Corp Council last year about 266 Dickinson when we were waiting for the money to be released for the homes in escrow. And so that was several months ago. So if we can follow up with a written letter as to the progress of that. And part of the reason that I believe is you never want the federal government and their construction of a house, to answer Member Johnson's questions, as Mr. Smith has said it, to get in the middle of your rebuild. If you started, you don't want the federal government to come in the middle of the rebuild, is what Mr. Smith has said. My question, and maybe it's also a written follow-up, is are people with the first-time homebuyers able to purchase the Lahaina Community Land Trust houses they have? And what is the process, or what is the holdup? And that may be a follow-up letter to, what's her name, Jeannie, with, it's not Tetra Tech.
Rasmussen?
No, Jeannie Sutton?
With
Yeah.
a contract, Horn, yeah? She's with Horn.
Horn, yeah, sorry. So many contracts. But what is the process for a first-time home buyer to be able to purchase a Lahaina Community Land Trust home? Because a lot of folks have said, you know, they may want to purchase a single-family home, and there's not much in Lahaina. They want to stay in Lahaina. So it kind of pushes them out of Lahaina. We heard last night, I think 26 first-time homeowners have come forward, and there's about 125 more to happen. And if any one of those could purchase an existing Lahaina Community Land Trust home, what is the process and what is the obstacles?
Okay, you want us to send a letter?
Unless somebody here knows the answer.
Oh, you're asking Office of Recovery questions, but Mr. Mata'awa, do you have that answer?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councilmember Paulton, for the question. Just a point of clarification, the department also has a first-time homebuyers program that's separate from the program that Office of Recovery does, and it has specific guidelines on the usage. We do have a current wait list that hasn't been exhausted yet, so any applicants that haven't signed up for the program yet would go to the back of the wait list.
Okay, yeah, and if it's a letter, my specific question is for the CDBG-DR first-time homebuyers, not the County of Maui Housing Department first-time homebuyers program, because it's trying to keep our Lahaina people in Lahaina if they would like to stay in Lahaina.
Okay, thank you. Chair Lee, then Member Batangan.
Hi, Autumn. Thank you for your presentation. Appreciate the hard work you're putting in on this. You know that I referred the Mizomi family to you, and you concluded that transaction. How many more local families like that have gone through you?
Oh, gosh.
Just the land, just the land. I'm talking about just the land.
I'm looking at our thing real quick right here. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You know, I will say more than half of our purchases are something like that, where the folks reach out to us before they list, or it's a family that can't figure out, like more than half. The things we buy off, the things we buy off the MLS are not the majority. How's that for the?
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, okay, great.
Okay, then do you keep track of the status of units that, let's say, the county is producing, private developers are producing, you're producing? Do you have keep track of the grand total of how many are being built and how many more we need to build?
We don't keep track. I do check in with Four Leaf every once in a while, just like Office of Recovery on like permits that are being put out. We track, we're like, I keep saying we're the land people. Like we do construct homes, but we really, our Kuleana is Aina. And so we track real estate transactions at a depth that I don't think anybody else does, not even like UHERO or DBET. Like what it closed for, the tax, we really care about the tax address of the purchasers, the history of the family, like all that stuff. We have that kind of data, you know?
Okay, let me just ask Mr. Mataafa that question. How many more in process, in progress? How many of them are in process, and how many more do we need? Units.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Council Chair Lee, for the question. The department does track holistically the number of housing units that are needed for the entire county. We don't track at the level that Department of Public Works would with the number of permits issued for homes being built. So that number is a number that the department does not track currently. But what I will say is there are a lot of efforts going in with the administration that are tracking that. It's just not a number that we track internally with the Department of Housing.
Okay, who would we ask to get that number?
I think the number that you're asking for is a number of homes as they're being built, and that would be a number that you could check with permits being pulled. So that's something that you could check. Or four leaf. So four leaf for the Lahaina community, and then if you're looking for overall numbers on numbers being pulled or permits being pulled, you could check with Department of Public Works.
Okay, thank you. Chair, can we send a letter to the department to get that information, please?
Yes, we got that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Member,
you have it already?
Oh, we have your question.
Yeah, okay, but you know, I'm talking about current numbers, yeah?
Yeah, got that.
Okay.
Staff is
Thank
nodding
you.
their head. Member Batangan, then Member Senensi.
Thank you, Ms. Ness, for the presentation and for all your hard work in our West Maui community. First question I have is for the administration. Can you give us a little bit more information on the grant conditions that are being deleted through Bill 4?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councilmember Batangan. No grant has been executed yet, but some of the conditions that were an issue with the Open Space Fund were the requirements for specific TMKs before funding could be issued. It also requires a very specific, it has to be a land conservation entity that receives the agreement. And I don't believe that's currently a part of the bylaws, although I will defer to Ms. Ness on that. And also the use of the land. There, as she indicated, there were some properties that might have been usable for open space or parks facilities, but at the end of the day, the majority of the work they're doing is in the housing arena. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, so when Member Hodgins had asked how we, I don't know, verify compliance so that was with an existing grant. The one that is before us for Bill 4 is for a new upcoming grant. Is that correct?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councilmember. We did not end up executing a grant under the Open Space Fund because we realized that they would not be able to meet the requirements. So there is no current grant.
Okay.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Then for Ms. Ness, I was really impressed to see the way that you're able to save our residents money. For example, by being able to waive the buyer and seller fees that they would otherwise have to pay for a realtor. Are those eaten up at the cost for that to your organization? Can you give us a little bit of information on your admin fees and then what from the county grants go towards those type of actions versus what is otherwise called for in like what we would expect from an open space fund or from like the housing grants? Like what proportion of our money goes towards what you would expect given the name of the grant versus these kind of activities?
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna try to summarize this. Okay, so we are able to execute all transactions in-house because we hired a really important part of our team, a West Maui, generational West Maui person who actually made her real estate license inactive so she could come work with us. So she's our own in-house real estate agent. So she's on salary, so we don't have to, she does all the work on, on both ends. So, and none of her salary comes out of our acquisition money. So that 1.5 million in year one that we spent and got reimbursed, that was all acquisition money, no admin, no salaries. For the Keep Lahaina Home program, yeah, admin is covered by other things, private donations that we have, that can only pay for things like operations, and they can't pay for capital costs. So that covers that, and we keep money from the county acquisition fund just for land and construction. In the Keep Lahaina Home program, that is a lot more work. Just the development of the worksheets about how to figure out what a home costs and insurance money that they have and what their pre-fire equity was and what their, it's a lot. So some of that admin fee does come off out of the 3.5 million. And that pays for the folks who are doing the financial analysis with each family. And we pay a one-time fee to a project manager who can do the inspections to release the draws in the different phases. Yeah, does that answer your question? Sorry, I don't want to.
Thank you, Ms. Yeah, so I guess I'm just trying to get a sense of what from the county's grants go towards the main mission of the grant versus administratively, and I think you answered that question.
Yeah, and in the line item for the Keep Lahaina Home for that 3.5 million, there is an administrative fee cap that I don't think we're going to hit. My CFO is texting us right now. Thank you, Simon. Okay. 500K of the 11 million. Is that right, of this fiscal year?
And if you don't have it in front of you now, I can follow up with the department as well.
Sorry. Okay. It's.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
You want a follow-up letter?
Yes, please. Can we just get a sense of what the admin cap is?
Yes. All right. Member Sinensi?
Questions, Chair? No?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I too wanted to express my gratitude to Autumn and her team and all the work they've been doing. I can tell by your voices it's been a labor of love. And so thank you. I know you guys had to pivot and just kind of learn right off the bat to get all of this done. So really appreciate it. With some of the county funding, it looks like you guys also received some donations. So were you guys able to leverage some of the county funds to get other funding?
Yes, I think I may have mentioned that right before you walked in, but I was saying that the first year, when that first funding package was decided by you folks, we didn't even wait till the fiscal year to start or for us to be able to access that money. We took the budget ordinance and we went all over the place, and we were able to say to people, hey, the county believes in us. The county believes in this work. The county understands that this is a real need. Can you pony up too? And people did. So just the mere fact that that ordinance was passed and that we were put in the budget the first year really, really sent us off to the races,
Yeah. Okay, thank you for that. And then, Chair, I don't know if this question would be for Mr. Mataafa or maybe the Office of Recovery, but I know there's 3 programs with the CDBG DR funds. I know one of them is closed, the Ho'okumuho, and the other 2, would you know, Mr. Mataafa? If they're still open?
Deputy Director.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councilmember Sinensi. I don't want to speak out of turn. I think it might be better to get that information from Office of Recovery.
Okay, Chair, if we can send that inquiry. And then for Ms. Ness, I've been receiving some calls about some of the state taxes that when you do sell and all these things. Is there anything, legislation that at the state level or that we can promote to kind of help, whether it be exemptions, those types of things? Have you guys seen any areas where we can help?
Yeah, the taxes is an interesting question because we have real estate taxes that are increased when you're like an out-of-state seller or buyer. We have, I think, I'm trying to remember, I think twice successfully like helped the seller appeal to the state to not have to pay like the increased HARPTA tax because they're only an out-of-state resident because their house burned down, you know? And those waivers were granted twice, I think. I don't know if legislation would help that. I'm happy to discuss that. I did just reach out to the state, to one of our representatives to see, we're really toying with the difference between a deed restriction and an easement. And a conservation easement is a thing that is defined by the state and that is forever. And then we have these deed restrictions that are like 5-10 years that really just kick a problem down the road. And so we're trying to see at the state level if we can add protecting housing for Kama'aina as a fifth component of things that qualify for a forever easement, so that we can just marry these two things once and for all. But yeah,
Okay.
I think we missed this session, so that's the next session.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I'll reach out.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So we've done one round. I have a question, but we've done one round. Does anybody have any more questions? You do? Okay. So we'll go another round of questions. So I have a question. So you're talking about first-time home buyers program where we know that the Office of Recovery or the huge difference, right? So the department's Office of Recovery, Department of Housing Office, I'm sorry, first-time home buyers is 30,000, I think, right, for that. Whereas I think Office of Recovery for this is 600,000. So my question to you is, are you planning on, making a change to our department, or how is this impacting your program?
Thank you, Chair, for the question. So yes is the answer to your question. The guidelines that we have for the first-time homebuyers program date back to 2019. One of the tasks that the department is striving for is to update those guidelines and make sure that it's addressing some of the things that we're seeing with the fire disaster, and then some of the impacts that are happening with Bill 9 as well.
Okay.
So the program, in the short future, we'll be looking at making those changes to make the program more updated.
Okay.
And to respond to need.
Very good, as it impacts this on our agenda. And so I'm going to start with round two. Member Uhajens, and just raise your hand if you have more questions.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to go back to some of my questions about Bill 4. Perhaps Budget Director, Deputy Director can answer. So what else are we going to do to accommodate the speed of which Ms. Ness is going to need access to some of these funds in order to kind of combat the vultures, I guess, as we have originally described. So besides not listing the TMK on the grant application, what else are we going to do on our end? Or is there anything else we need to do on our end?
Is this Ms. Milner?
Thank you, Chair. I'll take a stab at the question. So I think what I'm hearing you ask is how else can Lahaina Community Land Trust interact with the department in order to get funding more timely? So with FY 2026, that grant is executed. So as they start to acquire property or also work on their gap insurance program, they have the ability to submit a reimbursement to the department and can get funds that way. So they already have a grant agreement executed. They also have a grant agreements executed for FY 2025. As Autumn mentioned, the acquisition grant that they had is closed. They've paid out all that. We've closed that grant. It's completed. But we do have another existing grant for the insurance gap program that is also open at this time. So they can draw from both of those grants currently. They're both still open. The time of performance for those allows them to still draw from those grants within the scope of the grant agreement.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything else about Bill 4 before we vote on it on second and final reading that we need to know? that is going to be some sort of impactful change?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councilmember Hodgins. No, I think it's fairly straightforward what you see, recognizing the carryover savings, allocating that carryover savings to Lahaina Community Land Trust, and then removing the condition from the open space fund as it won't be able to be utilized.
Okay,
Thank you,
I'm
Chair.
removing the TMK information going forward so they can have access to that money quicker.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councilmember Hodgins. Yes, by putting it in the general fund, it removes the requirements of the open space fund.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ness. I appreciate your guys' time.
Thank you.
Okay, you're done. Thank you. Member Cook, you have a question? No. Member Rollins Fernandez, do you have a question?
Mahalo, Chair. Okay, just to quickly clarify the response that Budget Director gave. So on, what's that, page 2 of the, what's this, transmittal? On Granicus posted one, under Department of Housing, Housing Program, subsection 8, grant to Lahaina Community Land Trust, deleting the 6 million and replacing it with 11 so that it's adding 5 total. Yeah, so it's adding 5 to make it total 11.
Thank you,
Did I say
Chair.
that in a
Thank you, Councilmember Rollins Fernandez. Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And I guess a follow-up question, Ms. Ness. So I know we don't know exactly when folks will be receiving their settlement checks. Based on the amount of sales, thus far, does anyone have like an estimate of how many lots may, go up for sale after folks receive their check? Or I guess I'm a little concerned about, making sure that we're ready for the potential sales that may come if, the settlement checks aren't what folks are expecting.
Yeah, gosh, Canny, I wish I knew. I wish any of us knew. I find myself when I drive around Lahaina, there's construction going up and then there's this parcel that's sitting there. And I'm like, what is the story? Is this one of them? Is this, it's so hard. The short answer is no. What I will say is that we have gotten this far because we have been fast and nimble. We have these rough plans and a direction we think we're gonna go, and we just line up all our ducks and we go when we need to. And that's what we're doing. And that really speaks, this body, the people in the departments, even the housing application that we had to fill out, we had to fill it. We're not a regular affordable housing fund developer. Okay. We don't have a parcel and how many AMI units we're gonna hit. And just everybody understanding the nature of this problem is getting us there. And so we just gotta keep doing that. And I can't thank all of you enough for your willingness to just charge at this problem in whatever way it requires.
For being there, and being ready. And we're here to support as much as possible. And mahalo to the department and budget director.
Yeah.
And mayor. Mahalo, Chair.
Okay, great. Member Johnson, do you have any questions? Member Paulton, Chair Lee, second question.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. My questions have been answered. I just, wish Autumn Ness and LCLT the best of luck. They're doing great stuff. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, Member Paulton, then Chair Lee, Member Batangan.
I think my question is for Ms. Milner. Can you update us on the status of the managed retreat allocation?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councilmember Paulton. Yes, my understanding is there has been an agreement executed with the Lahaina Community Land Trust, so those funds are available. Based on Ms. Ness's presentation, it sounds like they may or may not be able to utilize them, but if parcels come up that are that fall into the uses of the managed retreat fund, that is available to them.
Ms. Ness, have you seen, sometimes I drive Front Street past the old Canoes restaurant. There's a parcel on the Mackay side of the road that burnt down. There's a big sign on it that says for sale by owner. I'm not sure if that's eligible for managed retreat to prevent someone from buying it and building right there on the shoreline. But have you been able to leverage that 5 million at all for other monies coming in?
For the managed retreat money, we haven't leveraged specifically shoreline funds, no, because we weren't sure of the need. And I would have to look in our records about the parcel you're talking about, but because we committed to only use this fund in a certain way, I wasn't, only just now when you brought that up, I'm starting to think, oh, is this also an acceptable use to buy that and prevent somebody else from building? In my mind, I didn't want to be the guys who bought out shoreline property owners who should never have built there in the first place. Once the property has gone to market, though, does that change the question? I'm happy to discuss that. We also have to think, is that going to set a precedent? Then is everybody just going to list their properties and we just buy whoever is listed theirs first? I don't know. I'm happy to discuss, though. Our current grant agreement goes until, I think it's summer of this year. So we have that time to make a decision. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, though, either here or afterwards.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I just, I drive by it on the way to the Lahaina office and I seen it. I'm not sure what they're asking for it or like if they're even allowed to rebuild. It looks like a walled compound, so I don't know that it's one of the two multi-generational long-term families on the north end of Front Street. I just noticed the signage like this week or last week.
Oh, okay.
It's like a big banner when you drive by, for sale by owner, and I don't know anything more than that.
Okay, I'm gonna go check it out and leave this open for discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Chair Lee.
Okay, thanks for bringing that up.
Thank you. Chair Lee, Member Batangan, or Member Sinensi, if you have questions.
Yeah, I have a question for Autumn. Autumn, you mentioned Habitat for Humanities and other voluntary tradespeople. Do you not have to follow prevailing wages?
That's a great question, Alice. I don't know where volunteers fit into that. Gosh, I don't know the answer to this question and how these two things align.
Well, maybe you could just send us a note when you have more time to think about it. Okay.
You've stumped me, Chair Lee. Okay, I'm gonna look into this and let you know. Okay.
West Corp Council, Chair Lee. If you have to use pay prevailing wages when you use county or government money for Habitat for Humanity, is the question.
Oh, wait, let me clarify, because I think we might be getting a couple things conflated here. So.
No, wait. Habitat for Humanity uses volunteers plus sweat equity. So that's the voluntary part that, do they have to follow any kind of procurement processes and pay prevailing wages where pertinent? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll send that to you in writing.
I'll get back to you guys because there's a couple different things going on here, but thank you for bringing that up.
Okay, Member Batangan and Member Sinensi.
And to add to her one, not just Habitat, Mennonite Disaster Services, because that's volunteer.
Wonderful organizations. Member Batangan.
Thank you, Chair. No questions. Just want to reiterate my gratitude to Ms. Ness and her team.
Thank you. Member Sinensi. Okay, great. So members, we're going to forward the questions that came up in this discussion. Thank you very much. Autumn Ness, you are awesome. Thank you very much for doing this. I remember marching in Lahaina and where I was carrying the sign, right? Lahaina land for Lahaina's hands, right? Was that it, Member Paulton? Those little red signs that you had us all carrying?
It was fans.
Oh, it was fans?
And it's keep Lahaina lands in Lahaina
Lahaina's-
hands.
Okay. So I'm going to defer this so we can bring it up again, send the questions that you all asked to the various appropriate resources. And thank you. You know, we're running out of time to have Ms. Milner here, and the next two items on the agenda, she's kind of critical. So I'm going to call a 5-minute recess. I'll come back at maybe 10:50, 3 minutes. I need to talk to Ms. Milner to find out what kind of time constraints you have and if we can even continue without you being here. Thank you very much. I'm going to call you back at 10:50. Okay, welcome back. It's 10:54. Members, I'm going to defer the last item, which is about carryover savings. We are losing Miss Milner. She was supposed to leave here at 11. So the next item on our agenda, item number 2 is, oh wait, let me get out of Community Land Trust. Oops, sorry. So it is a discussion that we're having on Bill 3, amending fiscal year 26 budget, Department of Housing, Housing Interim Financing and Buyback Revolving Fund, Komohana Hale Apartments Rebuild. And this is 7B also. And it proposes to amend fiscal year 26 budget to recognize $2 million in estimated revenues in the Housing Interim Financing and Buyback Revolving Fund and to appropriate the funds for the Komohana Hale Apartments rebuild. And the $2 million is insurance proceeds for damage to Komohana Hale Apartments from the August 23 Lahaina wildfires. But Bill 3 passed first reading at the council meeting on January 7 and remains with the council for consideration of passage on second and final reading on January 23rd coming up. Today, the council's focus is the legal authority for the fund, how this fund is budgeted and reported, and internal controls that ensure the funds are used for the intended rebuild. I also want to confirm the total insurance proceeds received to date, how those proceeds are recorded, and whether that accounting differs from what Bill 3 proposes. For reference, the fiscal year 25 carryover savings report lists $4,547,617 in insurance proceeds for Komohana Hale members. For reference, the most recent fiscal year 25 carryover savings report can be found in Granicus under BFED 20, item 22, and number 2. So at this time, I'd like to hear from Ms. Milner. Thank you very much for sticking around a little bit, and we'll release you as soon as we're done with this. Maria Zielinski, Deputy Director of Finance, and we also have Marcy Sato. Thank you very much for being here. Samalu Mata'ava, Deputy Director of Housing. So any opening comments? Who wants to take this first?
Thank you, Chair. I'll start off. Yes, we knew we had the insurance proceeds from this, and in speaking to finance, they were booked to this enterprise fund because that is where the asset was capitalized. So I worked with the Department of Finance to determine the best way to reflect this in the budget to utilize those funds for fiscal reporting purposes and generally accepted accounting principles. They felt this was the best way to reflect that enterprise fund. As we discussed at the council meeting, this enterprise fund is not generally included in the budget as it is not used for departmental operating or capital expenses. But obviously this is an exception as we intend to rebuild these apartments, and I will let the Department of Finance speak to this further. Thank you, Chair.
Deputy Director.
Thank you, Chair. First, I do want to apologize. I understand, even though our response to BFED was prepared and sent upstairs yesterday, I understand it just got sent to council members, so I do apologize for that. I also do want to recognize that there were a lot of questions regarding historical background on this particular enterprise fund, and we actually don't have a lot of the answers because additional research is needed. We didn't have sufficient time to do that, and we need to speak with other agencies and parties as well to get that information. I do have Marcy Sato here, who's the accounts administrator. She's most familiar with a lot of the procedures and transactions with regard to this this fund. And I should mention, as I said, this is a proprietary fund. So this is one that's reported in our aquifer, similar to the Department of Water Supply, but has so little activity. And as Budget Director indicated, that's one of the reasons, as far as with the transactional activity, why it's not shown on our budget. I will defer to Ms. Sato for any transactional or any historical information. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sato.
Chair, council members, Happy New Year.
I will be available for any questions or concerns that you have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So no other resources. Did you want to say anything?
Thank you, Chair. I don't have much to say, but just thanking the council for taking action on this item at last week's council meeting. So thank you.
Okay, very good. Do we have any testifiers?
Chair, no one has indicated a desire to testify. Oh, I see someone just joining the meeting, but so far no one has signed up to testify on this item. So if we can proceed with last call, if anyone, oh, I do see a hand raised.
Okay.
Can you? Chair, the Royal House of Lahaina would like to testify.
Oh, a new name. Testifier? There. Royal House of Hawaii, or...
Oh yes, the Royal House of Hawaii and Lahaina, mahalo. I object to any decision making and everything like that as a colonial land title, royal patent holder, and descendant. There's been no discussion about no land, whatever, land trust, whatever, because the land is already in a trust. It's the royal patent, real property, royal patent. So make sure you guys get that on the record. Royal patent, yeah. And I fully object, and this is highly illegal because why haven't the descendants not been caught up? As a descendant of Lahaina also, because have a get royal patent over there too. And as a royal patent holder, beneficiary of Honolua also, because I heard that there was going to be tapping into water or something like that, over there. I fully object. But what is that called? Yeah, I fully object again as an allodial land tenant, royal patent heir, and descendant holder, and return the lands to the royal patent descendants and call the royal patent descendants because that problem needs to be fixed first. I mean, we love that area, but yeah, what about us though? We had to move because of the fire a long time ago when there was one big fire over there and nobody would help us. How come? But everybody else they're getting help. I don't know. So, and of course we would help the people also, but I don't know. It's just keep on getting overthrown. Yeah. So can we please get help? The Royal House of Hawaii, Ke Olu Olu. Oh my God. But yeah, call the royal patent descendants because gotta anything that involves with us, Kanaka and Hawaii, because all of Hawaii is royal patent allodial titled by Kamehameha III, and put back the legal information inside of everybody's tax map keys because they're getting erased and changed because it's supposed to be showing royal patent RP, which is the real property, and LCA from 1839, So, and that's a violation on an international level. So please, go make corrections again, because we get the map. I don't know why it's getting changed for. And is that time or get
Yes.
one more minute?
Yeah, but 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Call the descendants again, girl, okay? Royal patent descendants. And if you guys don't, girl, it's a violation on international level, okay? So call them up, let them know, because all of Hawaii is allodial title, royal patented, and if not, you're contributing to the harm and erasure of Kanaka and the royals of Hawaii. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any questions for the Royal House of Hawaii and Lahaina? See none. Thank you very much. Next testifier.
Chair, no one else has indicated a desire to testify, so we can proceed with countdown. 3, 2, 1. Chair, no one's indicating a desire. Thank you.
So I'm going to close public testimony, receive written testimony with your permission, members. Thank you. And so at this time, 3 minutes per member for questions regarding this item. Member Paulton.
My first question is, there were 3 county-owned properties, I believe, that had housing on it that burnt down: Komohanahale, Lahaina Crossroads, and Kahaleakiola. Did all 3 of them have insurance, or only Komohanahale, and why is that? And then Lahaina Crossroads is kind of close to the ocean. Is there plans to put the Lahaina Crossroads units on the Komohanahale parcel, or is it same 20 units, 2 stories, and this is the one at Leo Leo Street, correct?
Department.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councilmember, for the question. On the insurance question, I'll have to defer to our risk management. I know we have insurance through our property manager, which is Hale Mahaolu. So they carry insurance for all the properties that they manage for the department. Your question on Lahaina Crossroads, when we go forward and this money gets approved by the council, we've already selected a vendor that will help us do an initial site assessment. And the site assessment RFP that we sent out was to maximize the density while still being comfortable for the remaining area, the remaining neighbors on that parcel. So we are looking to put the density that was on the Lahaina Crossroads parcel in Komohanahale. And that's the intent of the department moving forward. And I think I answered most of your questions.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Can we follow up letter to the risk management, as Deputy Matafa was speaking to, why only the one of the 3 parcels we're getting insurance proceeds on, and if there is an insurance policy, like not a insurance policy, but a policy regarding insurance on county-owned buildings and structures that some of them have and some of them don't have. And if there is, what is it? And if there is not, then should there be?
Okay, we'll send that question. Thank you. I guess we'll just go down the line. Chair Lee, do you have a question? Member Batangan, followed by Member Senensi.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Member Batangan.
Nothing for me.
No
Thank you.
questions. Member Senensi.
No questions, Chair.
Member Uhajens.
No questions, Chair. Thank you.
Member Cook, no questions. Member Rollins Fernandez, followed by Member Johnson.
Mahalo, Chair. Yeah, no questions. I mean, I looked up in the code and it says that the ordinance was established in 1979. And maybe that's why, to your question, in the transmittal, it says more research needs to be done. Yeah, I just wanted to look it up for myself, and I figured I'd share my findings with everyone. That's all. Mahalo.
Thank you. Ms. Milner.
Thank you, Chair. Just really quickly to add on to that, we have reached out to the Office of Council Services to see if we could request any meeting details from 1979 to provide to the committee. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, very good. So you already had that in motion. Okay, Member Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. Just a minor question clarifying. You know, in the description of the use of the funds, it says pre-development costs, including site work. And why not state its construction instead of site work? Is the difference significant? Is there a separation in that?
Department.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councilmember Johnson, for the question. So the intent of the funds, so let me back up a little bit. We're going through the public assistance process, and one of the things that they recommend to do first is, through FEMA, is to do a site assessment, which sets you up for a design build RFP ultimately. So The monies that's being appropriated now will dovetail into the design build portion of that, but we'll likely need a lot more for the design build. But we're just recognizing $2 million right now because we need to get that first site assessment work contracted with our vendor. And then once we finish the site assessment, we understand what the constraints are on that parcel. We'll use another portion of that, the leftover portion of that money to go into the design build, but we'll likely have to come back at a certain point and recognize the remaining $2 million and some change that was given to us through insurance.
So okay, that clarifies that. Thank you so much, Deputy Director. Thank you, Chair. No further questions.
Okay, thank you very much. And who am I missing? I guess I've gotten through everybody. Oh, Member Paulton.
Thank you. Do we know the details? Was the $2 million the entirety of the insurance payout? At one point when I was speaking to Mr. Lyons, he said Halimaholu had really good insurance policies for that time, but now, they're not able to get the same kind of value in their insurance policies. Do we know the details? And I think Daryl Huff reported that the state was entering into the insurance for condo and that was helping to lower it. So is there any knowledge of those things? Is the $2 million the entirety of it?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councilmember, for the question. The payout that we received was close to $5 million, and we're recognizing just $2 million of that $5 million at this time.
Do we know the anticipated entire expense for full build-out?
We don't have that now. So the site assessment will advise the department on the full build-out. What the department is working, the department is working closely right now with both FEMA and then also with CDBGDR. So they're both two separate federal programs that have compliance rules. So we're trying to exhaust and try to get the maximum amount of public assistance, and the site assessment will actually help us get there. It'll fill in the gaps where FEMA's cost estimates were low. And when we finally get the site assessment, that will further inform the design build team when we get to that point in the RFP stage. And we'll get a better assessment at that point, the full build out cost.
So the total amount you said was $5 million. What is the reason for only recognizing the $2 million?
Yeah, so currently that's all we're able to use at this point. When we come back later and ask for more funds, at that point we'll be in the design build phase. So we don't know what that cost estimate will look like just yet. So we wanted to be conservative with the money that we're asking for now. We know we can use the $2 million towards site assessment. We don't know what the additional cost will be just yet for design build.
Will the entirety of the insurance payout be recognized in the upcoming budget cycle, or not the $2 million because we're recognizing it now? Even if we don't intend to spend the $3 million in the next budget cycle, will it be recognized because we're holding it?
The intent is to do it through a budget amendment because we don't know. It's likely not going to occur until FY27.
The payout from the insurance company?
We have the payout for the insurance company, and I think Department of Finance can speak better into what type of account that's held in, but it's held in an account. It's not recognized in the council's budget. What we're asking to be recognized today is the $2 million.
So it's not earning interest for us, or it is?
Finance.
It's earning interest, and the interest goes into that same fund?
Is earning interest, yeah.
And the interest goes back into the same fund?
Into the same fund,
Okay.
yes. If you look at the ACAFR, you'll actually see interest earned, yeah.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? So thank you very much for the responses to the many questions. And you're right, there's research that needs to get done. So I wonder if we can look into, we need to straighten out this, the use of these funds based upon that 79 reporting that was done, or the law. Can we check into that? Okay. Please explain the legal and accounting basis for depositing or crediting the insurance proceeds to this fund instead of accounting for the proceeds in the general fund. That's a Marcy Sato. Go ahead.
Chair,
Council members, thank you very much. Marcy Sato, Accounting System Administrator, Department of Finance. So for insurance proceeds for enterprise funds which operate like a business, we are required by GASB accounting standards to record the insurance proceeds and offset it with the capital asset. So we removed the destroyed property off of the books in the enterprise fund and recorded the insurance proceeds. We received $4.9 million, like Deputy Mataafa said, and also recorded an impairment of approximately $450,000. That is why you're seeing reflecting the net insurance proceeds of $4.5 million.
Okay, thank you. And members were just given a copy of the answers for this. Okay, so members, we will look more into this. Anybody else have any more questions on this? So I'm going to defer this item so Leslie Milner can go off to her. Oh, go ahead.
I just had one additional question.
Okay, please.
Is it anybody's preference that we change the name so that they're not exactly the same? I mean, that's within our purview, right?
Yeah.
Do you want us to do that, or do you want that done?
Chair.
Go ahead.
Council members. I think that once we do the additional research and identify why those funds were named the same, we have some ideas of why that was, but we need additional information. Obviously, it's from 1979, so we're trying to piece together the information from our ACFRs, from any legislation minutes like
So
Director
hold
Milner
off
said.
and you'll recommend
Right,
the solution you
right.
want to see to us.
I would
We don't
think
need
that
to do
would be the
anything.
best, until we actually know what the intent was, or if we cannot determine, then we could make a recommendation, because it is confusing that they were both named the exact same thing, but I also believe that it could have been for a reason.
Okay, so we'll hold it off and leave it in your hands to tell us what you want us to do. And we won't think about it until you come back with a recommendation.
We would collaboratively with the administration and Budget Director Milner. Thank you.
Just clarifying where we're leaving it at.
Very good. Okay, so we will wait to hear more. Members, if there are no other questions, or Corp Counsel, do you want to say anything regarding this? No? Okay. So if there's no any more, I'm going to defer this item and adjourn this meeting. It's 11:17. Thank you.